The story of the man with the withered hand is one of the most striking moments in the Gospels. What seemed like just another healing performed by Jesus turned into a direct confrontation with the Pharisees and a powerful lesson about compassion and faith. This miracle, which took place inside the synagogue on the Sabbath, revealed not only Christ's divine authority but also his challenge against religious hypocrisy. Do you want to hear more stories about the characters who were part of Jesus' life and the biblical universe as a whole? Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, because every day we reveal a new character with an inspiring story. The context of the healing. The episode of the man with the withered hand is recorded in all three synoptic Gospels: Matthew 12 verses 9 to 14, Mark 3 verses 1 to 6, and Luke 6 verses 6 to 11. By this time, Jesus was widely known for his teachings and miracles, and his relationship with the Pharisees was becoming increasingly tense. The religious leaders were disturbed by the way Jesus challenged traditions, especially the strict rules regarding the Sabbath. For the Jews, the Sabbath was a sacred day of rest in which any kind of work was forbidden by the law of Moses. For the Pharisees, this prohibition even extended to acts of healing, unless it was a life or death emergency. However, Jesus came to reveal that the true essence of the law was not rigid rule-keeping but love and mercy. Entering the synagogue. That Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue, where a man with a withered hand was present. The Bible does not tell us his name or how his hand became paralyzed, but we can imagine how difficult his life must have been. In a society where most work required manual labor, having a disabled hand meant a severe limitation, likely preventing him from earning a living and living with dignity. The Pharisees, who were already keeping a close eye on Jesus, saw this as an opportunity to accuse him. They knew Jesus was compassionate and would likely try to heal the man. So, they began watching him closely, waiting for him to perform the healing so they could condemn him for breaking the Sabbath. The irony is striking. Those who were supposed to care for people were more concerned about trapping Jesus in a supposed wrongdoing than about helping a man in genuine need. The confrontation and the call. Jesus knew what was in the Pharisees' hearts. Not only did he perceive their intentions, but he also used the occasion to teach a profound lesson. Before performing the miracle, he called the man forward and asked the religious leaders a direct question. Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save a life or to kill? Mark 3 verse 4. The Pharisees were silent. They couldn't answer without contradicting themselves. If they said doing good was forbidden on the Sabbath, they would prove their religion lacked mercy. If they said it was allowed, they couldn't condemn Jesus for healing the man. Jesus looked around at them with anger and deep sadness. He wasn't just frustrated with the Pharisees. He was heartbroken by the hardness of their hearts. The miracle. Then, turning to the man, Jesus gave him a simple yet powerful command. Stretch out your hand. The man obeyed. The moment he stretched out his hand, it was completely restored. A limb that had been withered and lifeless was now healthy, strong, and fully functional. This moment was extraordinary because Jesus didn't use any touch or visible action. He simply spoke, and the miracle happened. This demonstrated that his authority came directly from God. The Pharisees' reaction. Instead of rejoicing at the man's healing, the Pharisees were furious. Luke 6 verse 11 says that they were filled with fury and discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus. Mark 3 verse 6 goes even further, revealing that they immediately went out and began plotting with the Herodians about how they could kill him. This shows how deeply corrupted their hearts were. They were supposed to be defenders of the law, yet they were willing to conspire in murder out of envy and hatred. The spiritual meaning of the restored hand. The miracle of the man with the withered hand was not just a physical healing. It was a spiritual representation of what Jesus came to do in the world. Just as this man's hand was paralyzed and unable to function, humanity was spiritually paralyzed by sin and hardened hearts. When Jesus commanded the man to stretch out his hand, he was demonstrating that faith requires action. The man could have doubted, felt ashamed, or feared embarrassment, but he trusted and obeyed. His healing happened the moment he took that step of faith. This teaches us that even when we are spiritually weak, incapable, and trapped by difficult circumstances, Jesus calls us to take a step of faith. He has the power to restore what was lost and to give back what seemed impossible. Lessons for today. 1. Jesus values compassion over rules. The Master teaches us that love and mercy are more important than empty traditions. True faith is not based solely on rules but on a genuine relationship with God and care for others. 2. Faith requires action. The man with the withered hand had to stretch it out to receive healing. Likewise, when Jesus calls us, we must trust Him and act in obedience. 3. A hardened heart can blind us. The Pharisees were so focused on trapping Jesus in a mistake that they ignored the miracle happening right before their eyes. We must be careful not to let pride or religiosity keep us from seeing God at work. For Jesus restores us completely. Just as that man had his hand restored, Jesus can restore any part of our lives that feels broken or paralyzed. He has the power to heal emotional wounds, free us from sin, and give us a renewed purpose. Final reflection. The man with the withered hand was an outcast, unable to work, with no hope of healing. But one encounter with Jesus changed his life forever. And just as He restored that man, Jesus can restore anyone who comes to Him in faith. If this story touched your heart, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to hear more stories of biblical characters who continue to inspire and transform lives. If you liked this video and want to know more about the characters that surrounded the life of Christ and formed the rich biblical story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and send this video to your friends. Turn on notifications to know when new videos come out.